With all levels saved but one, there's only one thing left to do. Climb the Shrine Gate and hop into Pianta Village. With its chain chomps and mesh housing, let's see what you couldn't miss in Pianta Village. When we reach the village, we are greeted by absolute chaos. All around the village are chain chomplets with fevers running rampant. While it's odd that their biology causes them to heat to extremely dangerous temperatures when experiencing a fever, the real oddity is their tails. For some reason, their tails act as though you are pulling back a toy car and catapult the chomplets forward. However, as opposed to a toy car, the chomplets lock themselves in place as they charge up. This gives us a hint towards the chomplets' locomotion physiology. While it seems they hop around with their visible body parts, they actually do so with extremely tiny legs on the bottom of their bodies. These legs can be used to explain why the chomplets get locked in place during the tail pulling process. When the chomplet's tail is pulled, their bodies have an innate response to initiate a sprinter's stance. This stance not only keeps them in place, but also allows them to store immense kinetic energy, thus explaining the propulsion we see after release. Why this trait was gained due to evolution is unknown, but considering how niche this trait is, we may never know. Episode 2 compared to 1 is not absolute chaos. This is just another simple race against Il Piantissimo. With us beating Piantissimo twice, this being our third and final race with him, he definitely wouldn't want to lose again. And while it's never stated, odds are Pianta Village is where Piantissimo calls home, meaning he has a home turf advantage. Though, how do we know this? Based on his criminal background, firstly, Piantissimo is loved by the inhabitants of the village, meaning they would probably cover for him in the event he was caught. Secondly, considering the specifications a criminal like Il Piantissimo would want, the village is a perfect fit, with a secluded location, access to an underground passageway, and a canyon to dispose evidence. All his bases are covered. And lastly, the hot spring to cool off after a race fits perfectly for a lavish man such as Il Piantissimo. The Goopy Inferno puts Pianta Village into absolute chaos, and also is the only stage where Bowser Jr. decides to swipe Flood right as the level starts. It's pretty obvious as to why the level does this, with the goal being extremely easy and trivial if Flood is utilized. However, for Bowser Jr. to ambush us outside of his pocket dimensions he uses for his secret levels would definitely require a time-intensive stakeout. This implies that Bowser Jr. has spent every second of his time, other than his appearances in episode 7's secrets and in cutscenes, waiting here just in case Mario shows up. It's weird he would spend this much time for a level that can be cheesed so easily, but who knows how his genius mind works. Chain Chomp's path starts off peaceful, but quickly evolves into absolute chaos. While this is clearly due to Mario's lack of dog walking experience, what we truly want to dive into here is the hot spring we dumped the Chain Chomp into. Oddly enough, even though this hot spring isn't meant for the Chain Chomp, somehow the Chomp perfectly fits into the spring. While this can be written off as a coincidence, this actually tells us the origin of the hot spring. Many years ago, a Chain Chomp as hot as the sun landed at this exact location. This created the geothermal hotspot for this hot spring and the perfectly sized Chain Chomp indentation. The underside secret is Bowser Jr.'s last secret, and weirdly enough, he has trapped tons of Piantas inside of it this time. Though, not only are they trapped, they also have been hypnotized to toss Mario when any vocal interaction is had. This cruel treatment of the Piantas truly signifies Bowser Jr.'s full acceptance of his villainy, showing his complete lack of empathy for anyone no matter how innocent, as long as his goals of defeating Mario are accomplished. And speaking of Bowser Jr.'s empathy, we truly get to see his lack of empathy in the absolute chaos that is Piantas in need. This is the 4th time he has struck Pianta Village with a burning threat, and the 5th time overall he has messed with the Piantas in this village. Compared to every other area, none have been terrorized by Bowser Jr. more than Pianta Village. Though, why is this the case? Due to Piantas generally helping Mario during past episodes, Jr. started hating Piantas, and started seeing them as enemies. Thus, when he heard about a village named after the people he considers enemies, he decided to full send all of his most heinous acts of vandalism not only against the village itself, but its people as well. The last episode in Pianta Village is for once not absolutely chaotic, and this time is organizedly chaotic. This is due to the Fluff Festival, and inherently it's fluffs. The fluffs that fly around during this festival seemingly appear from nowhere, especially considering the fact there are no dandelion type plants inside of the village. The origin of the fluffs has been hotly debated, and have led to 2 theories that have been accepted as equally plausible. One being the fluffs are sentient and decide to migrate annually on the festival date. The second theory, and the one I personally believe in, is the fluffs are being released by the Poinks from their cloud capital in the sky. And that is the end of this video. If you enjoyed, you know what to do.